The gunshot echoed through the underground parking garage, and Sophia Whitmore hit the concrete floor hard. Strong hands pressed her down, a solid weight covering her body as another bullet ricocheted off the pillar beside them. Her heart hammered against her ribs, fear coursing through her veins like ice water. "Stay down," a deep voice commanded in her ear. She couldn't see his face, only felt the rapid rise and fall of his chest against her back. 3 more shots rang out, then tires screeched in the distance. Silence followed, heavy and oppressive. The weight lifted off her. Sophia gasped for air, her designer dress torn at the knee, her hands scraped and bleeding. A man stood over her, gun drawn, scanning the shadows with cold, calculating eyes. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair and a jaw that looked carved from granite. "Jake Morrison," he said, holstering his weapon and extending a hand. "Your new bodyguard." Sophia ignored his hand and pushed herself up, anger replacing fear. "I don't need a bodyguard. I told my father that." "Well, someone just tried to kill you, so it seems your father was right." Jake's voice was flat, emotionless. "We need to move, now." 12 hours earlier, Sophia had been sitting in her father's study, staring at the threatening letters spread across his mahogany desk. Richard Whitmore stood by the window, his silver hair gleaming in the afternoon light, his expression carved from stone. "These aren't just empty threats, Sophia," he said. "Ever since you started speaking out against corporate corruption, you've made enemies, powerful enemies." "Good," Sophia shot back. "Maybe they'll actually listen." "They'll kill you first." Richard turned to face her, and for a moment she saw genuine fear in his eyes. "I've hired the best, Jake Morrison, former Special Forces, top-tier protection specialist." "I don't want to live in a cage, Dad." "Better a cage than a coffin." Now, sitting in the back of Jake's SUV as they sped through city streets, Sophia realized her father had been right. She stole a glance at Jake in the rearview mirror. His eyes never stopped moving, constantly scanning, assessing threats. There was something haunted in those eyes, something broken. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Safe house, until we figure out who wants you dead." "I have a charity gala tomorrow night. I can't just disappear." Jake's eyes met hers in the mirror. "You almost disappeared permanently tonight. The gala can wait." "No, it can't. I'm announcing a $50 million initiative for homeless veterans. People are counting on me." Something flickered across Jake's face at the mention of veterans, but it was gone before she could identify it. "Then I'll be there, but you follow my rules or I walk." The safe house was a penthouse apartment in a secured building downtown. Sparse, functional, nothing like the luxury Sophia was used to. Jake swept through each room methodically before finally holstering his gun. "You're bleeding," Sophia said, noticing the dark stain spreading across his left sleeve. "It's nothing." "Let me see it." "I said it's nothing." Sophia stepped closer, her voice softening. "Please." Jake hesitated, then slowly rolled up his sleeve. A bullet graze ran along his forearm, angry and red. Sophia disappeared into the bathroom and returned with a first aid kit. "Sit," she ordered. To her surprise, he obeyed. As she cleaned the wound, her hands steady despite the adrenaline still coursing through her system, she noticed the scars covering his arms. Burns, cuts, what looked like shrapnel wounds. "What happened to you?" The question escaped before she could stop it. Jake's jaw tightened. "Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, take your pick." "Is that why you do this? Risk your life for strangers?" His eyes met hers, and for a moment the walls came down. "We're not strangers anymore. You bled on me." Despite everything, Sophia laughed. It was a broken, shaky sound, but it was real. Jake's lips twitched, almost forming a smile. "There's someone I couldn't protect," he said quietly. "My sister. She was murdered by her ex-boyfriend while I was overseas. I was too late." His voice was raw, stripped of the professional detachment. "So now I protect people who can't protect themselves." Sophia's chest tightened. She placed her hand over his scarred forearm. "I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry. Just stay alive." The next morning, Sophia woke to find Jake already awake, sitting by the window with a laptop. She patted over, curious. "What are you working on?" Jake closed the laptop quickly, too quickly. "Security protocols for the gala." Something in his tone set off alarm bells, but Sophia let it go. She had her own secrets to keep. Later, while Jake was in the shower, she slipped out to the balcony and made a call. "It's me," she whispered. "I'm still getting the documents. My father's involved in something big and I'm going to expose it." "Be careful, Sophia," the journalist on the other end warned. "If he finds out you're investigating him." "He won't. I have to go." She turned to find Jake standing in the doorway, water still dripping from his hair, his expression unreadable. "Who were you talking to?" he asked. "A friend, checking in." "You shouldn't contact anyone. It's not safe." "I can't just cut off my entire life because someone's trying to kill me." Jake stepped closer, his presence overwhelming in the small space. "That's exactly what you need to do. Until this is over, I'm all you have." The words hung between them, loaded with meaning neither wanted to acknowledge. Sophia's breath caught as Jake reached past her to close the balcony door, his arm brushing against hers. The contact sent electricity through her skin. "We should go," Jake said, his voice rougher than before. "You need to practice self-defense basics before tonight." The next hour was torture. Jake taught her pressure points, escape techniques, how to break free from various holds. Every touch was professional, clinical, but Sophia felt each one like fire. When he positioned himself behind her to demonstrate a chokehold escape, his breath warm against her neck, she nearly forgot to breathe. "Focus," Jake murmured. "If someone grabs you like this, you need to." But Sophia wasn't focusing on the technique. She was acutely aware of his heartbeat against her back, the strength in his arms, the way his voice dropped an octave when he was close to her. "Are you listening?" Jake asked. Sophia spun in his arms, suddenly face to face with him, inches apart. "Why do you keep pushing me away?" "Because I'm here to protect you, not complicate your life." "What if I want complicated?" Jake's eyes darkened, his gaze dropping to her lips. For a heartbeat, she thought he might kiss her. Instead, he stepped back, putting distance between them. "Get ready for the gala," he said, his voice cold again. "We leave in 2 hours." The ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and champagne. Sophia wore a navy gown that hugged her curves, her hair swept up to expose her neck. Jake wore a tuxedo that transformed him from bodyguard to someone who could easily pass as her date. She caught several women staring at him, and a strange possessiveness flared in her chest. "Stay within 10 feet of me at all times," Jake said, scanning the crowd. "That's going to make dancing difficult." "Then don't dance." Sophia smiled sweetly. "I'm the host, I have to dance." She grabbed his hand. "Starting with you." Before he could protest, she pulled him onto the dance floor. His hand settled on her waist, warm and steady, and they began to move. Jake was surprisingly graceful, leading her through the steps with confidence. "Where did a soldier learn to waltz?" Sophia asked. "My sister taught me, before." He didn't finish the sentence. Sophia squeezed his hand. "Tell me about her. What was she like?" Jake's expression softened, a rare vulnerability crossing his face. "She was light, pure light, always laughing, always believing the best in people, even the man who killed her." His grip tightened slightly on her waist. "I failed her. I won't fail you." "You didn't fail her, Jake. You can't save everyone." "I can try." They swayed together, the rest of the ballroom fading away. Sophia felt safe in his arms, safer than she'd felt in years, maybe ever. "What if I wasn't Richard Whitmore's daughter?" she whispered. "What if I was just Sophia, and you were just Jake?" His eyes searched hers, conflicted, wanting. "But you're not just Sophia, and I'm not just Jake. We're..." "What? Wrong for each other, from different worlds?" She leaned closer. "I don't care about any of that." "You should," but his hand was moving up her back, pulling her closer. "This can't happen." "Why not?" "Because I'm lying to you." The words came out like a confession, raw and pained. "I'm not just here to protect you." Before Sophia could respond, Jake stiffened. his eyes fixed on something over her shoulder, and his entire demeanor changed. "We need to leave, now." "What's wrong?" "Don't argue, just walk toward the exit calmly." But it was too late. A man in a server's uniform was moving through the crowd, his hand reaching inside his jacket. Jake saw the glint of metal. "Gun!" Jake shouted, pulling Sophia behind him. Chaos erupted. Guests screamed and scattered. Jake drew his weapon, but the shooter was already firing. Jake shoved Sophia to the ground, his body covering hers as bullets shattered champagne glasses and mirrors above them. "Stay down." Jake returned fire, his shots precise and controlled. Sophia's ears rang. She tasted blood where she'd bitten her lip. Through the chaos, she saw the shooter go down, then two more men in suits rushing toward them. Jake grabbed her hand and ran. They burst through the kitchen doors, past terrified staff, and into a service corridor. Behind them, footsteps pounded closer. "This way," Sophia yanked Jake toward a service elevator. They dove inside just as bullets peppered the walls. Jake slammed the emergency stop button once they reached the parking garage. "Who are these people?" Sophia gasped. "I don't know, but this is bigger than a few threatening letters." Jake was checking his ammunition, his movements automatic, practiced. "Someone wants you dead very badly." They made it to Jake's SUV and peeled out of the garage. Sophia looked back to see two black sedans following them. Jake's jaw clenched as he weaved through traffic, running red lights, taking corners at dangerous speeds. "Hold on," he warned. He yanked the wheel hard, sending them into an alley. The SUV scraped against brick walls, sparks flying. One sedan followed. Jake slammed on the brakes and their pursuer crashed into a dumpster. But the second sedan was still coming. "Jake, there's something I need to tell you," Sophia said, gripping the door handle. "Not now. I've been investigating my father. I know about the weapons deals, the illegal shipments. I've been gathering evidence to expose him." Jake's head whipped toward her, shock written across his face. "You what?" "I'm not the naive heiress everyone thinks I am. I know what my father is." A bullet shattered the back window. Jake cursed and accelerated. "We'll talk about this later, if we survive." They burst onto a main road, nearly colliding with a bus. The sedan stayed on them, relentless. Jake made a split-second decision and drove straight toward a construction site. The SUV crashed through a temporary fence, bouncing over debris. "Are you insane?" Sophia screamed. "Probably." The sedan tried to follow but got caught on a concrete barrier. Jake didn't slow down until they were 10 blocks away, finally pulling into an abandoned warehouse district. He killed the engine, and silence fell like a weight. They sat there, breathing hard, adrenaline still pumping. Then Jake turned to her, his eyes blazing. "You've been investigating your own father. Do you have any idea how dangerous that is?" Says the man who just drove through a construction site. "I'm trying to keep you alive." "So am I. My father is selling weapons to war zones, Jake. People are dying because of him. I can't just look the other way." Jake ran his hands through his hair, frustrated and conflicted. "Sophia, there's something you need to know. I wasn't just hired to protect you." Sophia's stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" "I was hired to investigate your father, to get close to you, to find evidence of his illegal operations." The words tumbled out, each one a knife to her chest. "My handler thought you might know something, might lead me to proof." The betrayal hit her like a physical blow. "So everything between us was a lie. The dancing, the conversations, all of it was just you doing your job." "It started that way," Jake said desperately. "But Sophia, what I feel for you now is real. I swear to you, it's real." "How am I supposed to believe anything you say?" Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "You've been using me this whole time. And you've been using me to investigate your father. We're both liars, Sophia." "That's different." "Is it?" Jake leaned closer, his voice intense. "We both kept secrets. We both had missions. But somewhere along the way, this became about more than the job. You know it did." Sophia wanted to hit him. She wanted to kiss him. She wanted to scream. Instead, she turned away, staring out the window at the empty warehouses. Who else knows about your investigation? Just my handler, federal agent named Martinez. And what happens now? You arrest my father and I lose everything. Jake's voice was soft. Your father deserves to face justice. You know that. You were trying to expose him yourself. That was my choice to make. Sophia spun back to face him. Not yours, not some federal agent's, mine. Then make it. Work with me. We can take him down together. Before Sophia could respond, Jake's phone rang. He answered, his expression darkening with each second. When he hung up, his face was pale. What is it? Sophia asked. That wasn't just a random attack tonight. My handler traced the shooters. They were hired by your uncle, Marcus Whitmore. Uncle Marcus, that's impossible, he's family. He wants you dead, Sophia. With you gone, he inherits control of your father's company. $50 billion is a pretty good motive for murder. Sophia's world tilted. First Jake's betrayal, now this. My uncle has been trying to kill me. And he's not going to stop. We need to get you somewhere safe, somewhere he can't find you. No, Sophia's voice was steel. I'm tired of running. I'm tired of being protected and lied to and manipulated. If Marcus wants me dead, let him come for me. But this time I fight back. Jake studied her face, seeing the determination there, the fire. You're serious. Completely. You want to take down my father? Fine. But first we take down Marcus. And we do it my way. A slow smile crossed Jake's face. I'm starting to understand why someone wants to kill you. You're terrifying. Despite everything, Sophia almost smiled back. You have no idea. They spent the next hour formulating a plan. Sophia would contact Marcus, tell him she had evidence of their father's crimes and wanted to meet. They'd wear wires, get him to confess, and hand everything over to Jake's handler. This is dangerous, Jake warned. If Marcus suspects anything, then you'll protect me. That's what you do, right? Protect people. Jake reached across the console and took her hand. I meant what I said. What I feel for you is real. I know you don't trust me anymore, but I need you to trust me to keep you safe. Sophia looked at their intertwined fingers. Despite the betrayal, despite the lies, she still felt it. That pull toward him, that connection. I don't know if I can forgive you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance to make this right. She met his eyes. One chance, Jake, don't waste it. The meeting with Marcus was set for midnight at the old Whitmore Steel factory, a place that had been abandoned for a decade. Sophia wore a wire under her leather jacket, her heart racing as Jake parked 2 blocks away. I'll be watching from the catwalks, Jake said, checking his weapon. Anything goes wrong, I'll be there in seconds. Jake, Sophia caught his arm before he could leave. If something happens to me, nothing's going to happen to you. But if it does, I want you to know that I understand. Why you lied. You were doing your job trying to help people. That's who you are. She took a shaky breath. And despite everything, I think I'm falling in love with you. Jake's eyes widened. Before he could respond, Sophia kissed him. It was desperate and tender and fierce all at once. When they broke apart, Jake cupped her face in his hands. When this is over, we're going to have a long conversation about that, he said. And Sophia, I'm already in love with you. Completely, terrifyingly in love with you. Then he was gone, disappearing into the shadows of the factory. Sophia waited 5 minutes, then walked through the main entrance. The factory was dark, illuminated only by moonlight through broken windows. Her footsteps echoed on the concrete floor. Uncle Marcus, she called out. A figure emerged from the darkness. Marcus Whitmore was 60, silver-haired like his brother, but where Richard was cold, Marcus was charming. He smiled at her warmly. Sophia, my dear, I was surprised to get your call. I have evidence of Dad's illegal activities. Weapons shipments, bribes, everything. I thought you should see it before I go public. Marcus's smile didn't waver. How thoughtful of you. May I see this evidence? Sophia reached into her jacket, and Marcus moved with surprising speed. He grabbed her wrist, twisting it painfully behind her back. A gun pressed against her temple. Did you really think I was that stupid? Marcus hissed in her ear. I know you're wired. I know your bodyguard is here somewhere. Did you think I'd come alone? 4 men with automatic weapons emerged from the shadows. Sophia's blood ran cold. Jake, she screamed. Gunfire erupted. Jake appeared on the catwalk above, taking out 2 of Marcus's men with precise shots. But there were too many. Marcus dragged Sophia toward a back exit, using her as a shield. Call off your dog, or I'll kill you right here, Marcus snarled. Jake was pinned down, unable to get a clear shot without risking Sophia. She could see the desperation on his face, the same helplessness he must have felt with his sister. Not this time, Sophia thought. She remembered everything Jake had taught her. The pressure points, the escape techniques, the way to turn vulnerability into strength. Marcus's grip was tight, but his attention was divided between her and the firefight above. Sophia drove her elbow back into his ribs, then stomped down hard on his instep. Marcus's grip loosened for just a second, and she twisted free, dropping to the ground. Jake's shot rang out, hitting Marcus in the shoulder. The gun clattered from his hand. But Marcus wasn't done. He lunged for Sophia, rage contorting his features. She scrambled backward, her hand finding a piece of metal rebar. When he reached for her throat, she swung with everything she had. The metal connected with his temple and Marcus collapsed. Sirens wailed in the distance. Jake was suddenly there, pulling her to her feet, checking her for injuries. His hands were shaking. Are you hurt? Did he hurt you? I'm okay. Jake, I'm okay. She threw her arms around him, feeling his heart pounding against hers. We did it. Police flooded the factory. Jake's handler, Agent Martinez, a stern woman in her 50s, took their statements. Marcus was arrested, his men taken into custody. The Wire had captured everything, including Marcus's confession to ordering the hits on Sophia. What about my father? Sophia asked Martinez. We have enough evidence to bring charges. He'll be arrested tonight. Martinez looked at her with something like sympathy. I know this isn't easy, but you did the right thing. Sophia nodded numbly. Her father was going to prison. Her uncle had tried to kill her. Everything she'd known was a lie. Jake's hand found hers, steady and warm, real. Come on, he said softly. Let's get you out of here. They drove in silence to a hotel overlooking the city. Jake booked a suite, then stood awkwardly by the door while Sophia sank onto the couch. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving her exhausted and hollow. You saved my life tonight, Sophia said finally. Again. You saved yourself. That move with the rebar, that was all you. Jake sat down beside her, careful to leave space between them. I'm proud of you. My whole life is falling apart. No, your old life is falling apart. Now you get to build a new one, on your terms, with the truth. Sophia turned to look at him. And what about us? Is there an us after all the lies? Jake took her hand, his thumb tracing circles on her palm. I lied about why I was hired. I lied about my mission. But I never lied about my feelings. Every moment we spent together, every conversation, every touch, that was real. You are the most real thing in my life. How do I know you won't lie to me again? You don't, just like I don't know if you'll forgive me. But I'm willing to spend every day proving that I'm worth the risk. He moved closer, his eyes intense. I love you, Sophia. Not the heiress, not the mission, not the job, just you. The woman who fights for what's right, who refuses to be a victim, who makes terrible coffee and laughs at my worst jokes. Despite everything, Sophia smiled. My coffee isn't that bad. It's atrocious, but I'd drink it every morning for the rest of my life if you'd let me. Sophia's breath caught. Jake. I know we have different worlds. I know I'm a broken soldier with more scars than money, and you're... He gestured helplessly. You're everything. But maybe that's okay. Maybe different worlds can collide and create something beautiful. Sophia thought about her father in handcuffs, her uncle being loaded into a police car, the empire built on lies crumbling around her. She thought about Jake's secrets and her own, the mess they'd made of everything. And then she thought about the way he looked at her, like she was the only thing in the world worth protecting. The way he'd been willing to die for her, not because it was his job, but because he loved her. "I'm terrified," she whispered. "Me too. What if we're making a mistake?" Jake cupped her face in his hands, his touch gentle. "Then we'll make it together, no more secrets, no more lies, just us, figuring it out as we go." Sophia kissed him. It was different from before, slower, deeper, full of promise instead of desperation. When they broke apart, she was crying, but they were good tears, healing tears. "I love you too," she said. "Even though you drive like a maniac and you're way too overprotective and you make terrible dad jokes." Jake laughed, the sound rich and warm. "Dad jokes, I'm offended." "You told me a bodyguard walks into a bar joke. That's peak dad joke territory." "It was funny." "It was awful." Sophia snuggled into his chest, feeling his arms wrap around her. "But I laughed anyway." They stayed like that for a long time, holding each other as the city lights twinkled below. Tomorrow, Sophia would have to face the media, the scandal, the fallout of her father's arrest. She'd have to decide what to do with the company, her life, her future. But tonight she had this. She had him, and somehow that was enough. 6 months later, Sophia stood outside the federal courthouse, cameras flashing in her face. Her father had just been sentenced to 20 years. Marcus got 30. The Whitmore empire was being dismantled piece by piece, with Sophia leading the charge to reform what could be saved and shut down what couldn't. She'd testified against them both, every word captured by the media. Some called her a hero, others called her a traitor. Sophia didn't care about either label. She'd simply told the truth. Jake waited by his SUV, the same one that had saved their lives months ago. He wasn't her bodyguard anymore. He'd resigned from protection work, started consulting on security for nonprofits instead. But he was still there, every single day, steady and true. "How do you feel?" he asked as she approached. "Free," Sophia said, and meant it. "Terrified, but free." "Good terrified or bad terrified?" "The kind where you don't know what comes next, but you're excited to find out." She took his hand. "I'm starting a foundation, using what's left of the family money to help victims of corporate corruption and veterans struggling with PTSD. I want to do something that matters." Jake's smile was blinding. "You already do something that matters. You matter." "We matter," Sophia corrected. "Together." They drove away from the courthouse, from the cameras and the chaos and the wreckage of her old life. The future was uncertain. They'd have to figure out how to blend their worlds, how to build something new from the ashes of everything they'd lost. But as Jake reached over to take her hand, Sophia realized she wasn't afraid anymore. They'd faced killers and conspiracies and betrayal. They'd survived secrets and lies and impossible odds. Love, real love, was worth fighting for, and they'd fight for it every single day. If you loved this story of love, redemption, and second chances, hit that like button and subscribe for more emotional tailies that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Drop a comment below telling us what you thought about Jake and Sophia's journey. Would you risk everything for love? Let us know, and don't forget to share this with someone who believes in the power of true love conquering all odds. New stories drop every week, so turn on notifications so you never miss out. Until next time, remember that sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is open your heart, but it's also the most rewarding.